My name is Bethanne Vergean, and I work at the UConn UCED. I am also a part of a great state leadership team across our state for the pyramid model. We are what is called the Connecticut Pyramid Partnership, and I'll explain that in a minute. But today I'm excited for you to be here as we're going to talk about teachable moments with our young kids and how to help how to help your child avoid meltdowns, if that's possible. So I am a part of the Connecticut Pyramid Partnership and we are early childhood practitioner and caregivers. And we use this model to promote young children's social emotional development and prevent and address challenging behaviors. So our state team is working together to implement this tiered model into our childcare centers, our school districts, and home visiting, birth to 3. So it's a great model, and that a part of this monthly CPAC backpack series that we're doing is we pull modules from this pyramid model to share with parents. Oh, there we go. Okay. So there's 3 tiers to the pyramid model. And the first one is about building positive relationships. So we talk about anyone that interacts with young children, that a child experiencing a positive relationship reflects on how they respond to that person and as well as behaviors. Also having develop a supportive and nurturing environment. So when the environment is supportive to the child feels comfortable and safe. And then also the third tier is about providing individual supports to address persistent challenging behaviors when needed. I always say when we talk about whether it's parents or families or caregivers or child care programs, they're concerned about a child that may have some addressing behaviors. It's a form of behavior, a form of communication. So we always have to find out what the child is trying to communicate. So I always start with this slide because I think it's important that everyone understands that COVID has had a serious impact on our children's social emotional development. And they also have had months of stress and fear and struggle for many families. And these young children have felt those effects of these changes. And so it has affected acutely of our family members as well. So why in the next few years, we have, since COVID, well, is COVID over? I don't know, but COVID's still there. But the impact of our lockdown, impact of children staying home and not going to school and homeschooling, and the list goes on. We want to more than ever now pay close attention to children's social emotional development. So today I'm going to talk about some simple, effective things that you can do to build your child's strengthening social emotional skills. And then we want to be able to build confidence and to cope with those big emotions. And those big emotions are meltdowns. So as a parent or caregiver, you can reduce meltdowns and those challenging behaviors such as hitting, biting, pushing, whining. And we'll talk about those 2 strategies, but I will tell you, I am not a professional of challenging behaviors. I have had a child, my son Cooper, with many, many meltdowns. Meltdown in front of the library because he didn't get the book that he wanted. In the grocery store, a meltdown because he wanted this ginormous 25-foot elephant stuffed animal. The list goes on. He didn't care for the dinner that I was making, so there was a meltdown because he had to eat vegetables. So we all know as parents that our children have meltdowns. No child is perfect. No child doesn't have a meltdown. So I think it's how we respond to the meltdown is what we're here to talk about today. So I think more importantly, when a child is in that situation of having a meltdown, we want to concentrate on calming them down, giving them a second, talking to them about the incident. So in my case, is it the meltdown in front of the library? Sometimes I will say that you sometimes have to let them cry it out for a few minutes and let have that meltdown. And then, standing there and saying, let me know when you're finished. Let me know when you're ready to talk about what just happened and why you're crying. So I'm just going to sit here and I'm going to wait until you're done crying. And could it be 10 or 15 minutes? It could be, or it could be 2 minutes. So just sitting there calmly and letting the child let it all out. And then saying when they're done crying, and just keep prompting them and saying, let me know when you're done. I'm going to sit here and wait. And then wait to be able to sit down and talk about what just happened. So did you not get the library book that you wanted? So once the child stops crying, we're going to talk about the situation and why they didn't get what they wanted when they wanted it. And we all know that's how things go sometimes. So I want to just share this great video. I want to make sure I can play it. It's a great video of an example in a classroom, but it kind of shows that need for social emotional support to problem solve in the situation that will guide the child in kind of calming down from being upset. So I'm going to share this video. I just want to make sure, hold on one second, did I share the sound?
Thank you so much, Winnie.
This is a bad puppy. He's not a bad puppy.
It's not a bad puppy? Oh, goodness. I noticed you guys are bumping them. I remember that our classroom rule says to be safe, which means we use gentle hands. How can we be gentle with our toys? Yeah, be safe, be gentle. That means we may not bump them, but we can build together or we can drive them. Yeah, but bumping them may not be a safe choice because someone might get hurt. And we want to stay safe, don't we? Oh goodness, he hit it with his toys? How did that make you feel? Sad. Did you tell Daniel that?
I tell him leave him move your hands.
Oh, but you hurt his hand. What can we say to make him feel better?
Take a blue. No, maybe the flower.
Oh, maybe breathe like the flower? Yeah, but you hurt his hand. What can you say to Nova to help him feel better? Can you say, I'm sorry?
The butterfly.
We'll help him breathe in just a second, but could we say, I'm sorry?
And the butterfly, and it can do better.
Did you hear him? He said, I'm sorry, and you can do butterfly to feel better. Do you want to do butterfly? Okay, come on. Ready? Deep breath in. Blow it out. Deep breath in. Blow it out. Do we need to do another time, or are you okay? Okay, do you feel better? Great job solving the problem. And great job using your voice to tell your friend.
So I like the video. Well, one child hit another child, but really, so we're calming the child down. We're saying, let's calm down and talk about what happened prior to you getting upset. And then let's figure out how we can solve the problem. So for an example, as I went back to the meltdown in front of the library, I'm going to wait until you are able to calm yourself down and talk about it. So you didn't get to pick the library book that you wanted. So what can we do to solve that problem? Is there another book that's your second favorite that we could have picked out? Or what were other options? So letting the child know that, giving them options of how to solve the problem. It may not be what they had chose, and what really, because we all know young children like focus on this one thing. I want this. I don't want anything else. Nothing else is going to work. There's no other book in the world that's going to make me feel happy as this other book. So it's really like identifying what that is and then giving them other options to solve the problem. So what other books can we get that is just as exciting as the book that you wanted? So another part of if you saw that in the video too, of the teacher, she was like doing the butterflies. So he said he was sorry for hitting his friend, but then how can they all take a breath after they've been very upset? You take your hands and you're like making a butterfly on their chest and you're breathing in and breathing out. So there's many solutions that we can do to have a child take a breath and calm down, so they can blow out a flower or blow the leaves off a flower, act like they're blowing out a candle. So taking that deep breath in and blowing out. They could take a deep breath in, count to 3 and blow it out. let's get some cold water, or some may like, I like milk always makes me happy. So let's go sit down at the kitchen table and get some milk and take a break for a second. Listen to some music. If there's another calming technique is, now that you've calmed down, let's draw a picture and talk about what happened, or let's go for a walk. So there's multiple things that you can offer to a child to help them calm down. We know that providing them options to solve the problem is always a solution to using as a calm down strategy. So as adults, we also have times where we get upset ourselves, like we're upset in traffic or upset if someone cut us off. So, and then we're like getting upset in the car and we're like, oh, that guy just cut me off. And so how are we modeling for our kids that, parents get upset too, and this is how I calm down. So we want to be good models too, like, okay, so that car just cut us off, but I'm going to take a deep breath and that everything is good. I try to tell my husband that, but he doesn't listen. He's driving. So again, behavior is a form of communication. Why children and even adults have, why they exhibit behaviors is they're trying to tell us something. I want to share this great book called Tucker the Turtle. He takes time to tuck and think. So this is a home version. There's also a school version. And I would love to share this with you today in the PowerPoint, and then we can email it to you and give you a copy. There's the link to be able to download it. But this book I personally used about 10 years ago when I worked in preschool classrooms, and it's probably one of my favorite books. So I'm just going to share it with you because I think you'll enjoy it as well. Oh, there we go. Tucker the Turtle is a terrific turtle. He lives with his family in a small pond. Hi, I'm Tucker. Sometimes things happen that makes Tucker really mad. You can't play with us. That makes me mad. It's time to stop playing and get ready for dinner, his mom yells. So different things that make him upset. It used to be when Tucker got really mad, he would hit or kick or yell at his family and friends. His family and friends would get really scared. But now Tucker knows a new way to stay calm when he gets mad. He stops yelling and he keeps his hands and his body to himself. He can tuck inside his shell and take 3 deep breaths and calm down. So in the classroom, the kids used to kind of act like they were tucking into their own little shells, and they took 3 deep breaths. So this is a really good example that you can use in the classroom, or you can use it at home. Tucker can think of a solution to solve his problem. When Tucker stops and thinks, his body is calm and feels better. And when he uses gentle touches and kind words with his families and friends, they feel happy and safe. So at the end of the book, so it's a very short book, it's about 10 pages long, but it gives the idea of what we want to think like a turtle. So it goes through the steps of recognizing why the child is mad, stop your body from getting upset so we're not throwing things or we're not hitting people, tuck inside your shell and take 3 deep breaths, and then come out when you're calm and you can think of a solution that's going to calm you down. So the solution is all a part of that problem solving. And as well, in the back of the book there's tips on how to help children think of possible solutions. So if they're getting frustrated with a toy and they end up throwing it across the room, instead of throwing it across the room, what could we have done? Ask for help, for someone to come and help us with the toy. If there's a friend that's picking on them, they say, please stop. If they're fighting over a toy, wait and stop and take turns. Get a timer. So one friend has a few minutes to play with the toy, and then the timer goes off and it goes to the next friend. Ask for a hug. Who doesn't love a hug? Take a break. And then also a better way of wanting to communicate with your friends is asking them to play with you and not demanding that they play with you. So this book is so good to use at home with families. I think it helps in that whole of like taking that deep breath. And then most kids like to tuck into the shell like they're being a turtle. And who doesn't love to think like a turtle? and they move very slow too. So there's no arguing. Another great opportunity that we want to share with you today is that the Office of Early Childhood, who is a funder of the pyramid model programs that we have in our state, is they have a new newsletter that comes out on a monthly basis. And this month is actually what I'm talking about in this presentation today. And that is about those teachable moments and how to help your child avoid meltdowns. And so in this newsletter, there's tools, there's strategies, there is books, there's resources that you can download and use. And there's also the link to the National Pyramid Model Implementation website. And they have tons of resources for families. It's a great link to use. So I encourage, we can send you a link to the newsletter. I think I can put it in the chat box. Another great tool I wanted to share is there's a great podcast for young kids. It's called Little Kids, Big Heart. And all of the podcasts have to do around social emotional development. It's great to play in the car. If you have like a 20-minute ride somewhere, throw on the podcast. And it's kids actually that run the podcast and talk about. So there's one about feelings. So multiple kids are on the podcast and they're discussing how they share their feelings. So it's actually really good. And there are some really good funny ones too. So I encourage you to download the app. And then the NCPMI link website is in here too. But when I stop sharing, I can share the link to the NCPMI website. So you can check out the family section. It links you right to the family section. So I'm going to stop sharing and give opportunities for everyone to ask questions. And if there's any situations that they are in and that they want to share their experiences when teaching about meltdowns or actually being able to some calming down strategies. Anybody? So while we're thinking, I am going to put, oh, why isn't it letting me? I'm trying to get the newsletter into the website. Okay. It's a great newsletter and they are actually working on getting it out every month. So that's an awesome idea. I don't know why it's not letting me paste it. I will add it to the PowerPoint. And then we can send it out if anyone's interested in it. Any questions? I know we have a small group today, but there's a lot of great resources that you can use on the NCPMI website. So I'm going to actually put that link in the chat. I encourage you. So the backpack series is a handout that's done through the NCPMI, and they have a backpack series for everything you can imagine, biting, hitting, talking to your child about social, emotional development, strategies, tips. There's also how to teach your child to talk about emotions. There is, you name it, it's in there. So I'm going to put the link right here. Oh, the resource is good. Okay, good. So I'm going to put the link. So if you're, oh, I'm so happy you're here, Kaylee. So as a provider, Kaylee, you can go on to the, so I just put the link in the chat and you can go on to the website and actually download the PDF. I used to use it as part of a newsletter for parents, like how to give clear directions. Oh, and it comes in multiple languages. How to help your child stop hitting and pushing, whining, our favorite one. How to use social stories to teach your child new skills. I mean, it's fantastic. Also, how to recognize and understand disappointment. I remember my son Cooper his middle name was Disappointment, so I loved that one. It's so great, and you can think of like, what we're in October, so you're just starting to recognize that some of the kids that aren't really picking up those routines and transitions, there's also great tools in there as well. And also maybe talking to families about routines at home. We know some families may not have strong routines, but there's some tips on that too. So I encourage you to go to that link to use those.
Thank you. I will probably be printing them out too.
Yeah, they're good. And then Tucker the Turtle is in that link as well. You can print out the book. I loved the book and the kids loved it. And so I made it a part of circle time too. I was like, does anybody today need to crawl in their shell and take a few breaths before we go to centers? And they loved it. So it's a good tool. So I'm glad to help. And I'm going to put my email in here. And if you ever need anything else, let me know and I'm happy to send it to you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, I put the wrong one. Wait, I forgot a letter. Okay, now it's good. Like UCH. Nope. Yeah, so if there's anything else, if you ever need some tools, just email me. I'm happy to share. We know that social emotional awareness is such a top of our list as we work with young families right now. And so who couldn't use more resources? I see Annabella. If you have any questions or you just want to put anything in the chat, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you. Yes, this is very informative. Yeah, I appreciate these tips very much. My kids are a little older, but I do have some friends with elementary school kids who will
good.
benefit from it. Yes, thank you.
Yeah. How old is your son?
My two kids are 11 and 13.
Do they have meltdowns?
Yes, they do.
Give me my cell phone back. Yeah. But I mean, even like older kids too, it's teaching them how to problem solve for themselves or how to manage their emotions is super important too. So they may not have meltdowns like in front of the library because they can't have a book that they want, but there's similar emotions that they go through as well. But thanks for coming.
Absolutely. I think these are great skills that have to be taught early on. I wish I, put a little more work into it and wouldn't have the meltdowns that we have now, but yeah.
It's okay. There's no book for parenting. There is 5 million books, but and social emotional, I always say a lot of families get so concerned about their child going to kindergarten and they're like, they don't know their ABCs. I'm like, can they sit for 5 minutes? Can they, be able to express themselves when they're upset? Like, it's all about social emotional development before they're going to gain other skills in other areas of development, they have to be able to have those skills too. So it's super important. So I thank everyone for joining us today. I know it was a small crowd, but at least we got some great resources that you guys didn't know that you could have.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you have my email, you have the link there. And I encourage, go dig around. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much. This was great.
You're welcome. Have a great day. It's beautiful out. Get outside today.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you.
You're
Bye.
welcome. Bye.